Hey, everybody. Gotcha. Yeah. Everybody, how's it going? Karyn Bryant here.
With Angela Overkill Hill.
And this is what happened. Did I even do I don't what I think I did it wrong.
Did you? Is what had the H is always the hard part. Nah, you got it. You nailed it.
Yes, what had happened was on a Monday, a couple days after UFC 266. We'll talk about that and a couple few things. But I guess Angie, you went to some pro wrestling last night. Is that right?
Yeah. Wait, I need to figure out the name of it. Is PWG or PW6? I was looking at it, but I didn't. But yeah, Mark Raimondi invited me, and it was a pretty fun night. I kind of realized that I'm not a fan of wrestling. And I may never be, because it was literally like one of the greatest underground shows in the world, and it's just not for me. But the acrobatics that they do in there is super impressive. It reminded me of the show I went to in TJ once. It was kind of the same thing, but everyone was in the luchador mask, and they had a lot of luchador like matches. I did become a fan of a couple people, including a guy named Jack Cartwheel.
Okay.
Can you guess what his big move was?
Gee, let me guess. A cartwheel kick?
Yeah, he's so good at cartwheels. He's not even a cartwheel kick. Well, sometimes, but mostly just cartwheels around, cartwheels out of the way, cartwheels into the way. Yeah, that's his shtick, and he has like big cakes too. He has a big old booty, so it's kind of funny watching him twirl, and the butt stays in the center, and then his arms and legs go around. So I'm a fan of Jack Cartwheel now, and I'm a fan of Dragon Lee. He was pretty cool too. So.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a fan of some wrestlers, but I'm not the biggest fan of pro wrestling, but I can appreciate what they do. And it also looks like something that might be fun to do one day. Like, I remember once a girl told me that she doesn't like listening to poetry, but she likes writing and performing it. And I thought that was really lame of her to say, but I feel like that might be me with pro wrestling. Like, maybe I don't enjoy the shows as much, but maybe I'd be like really into doing it myself. And I think my like gimmick would be that I would have like 30-second matches. Like, I'd just go in, I'd either win real fast or lose real fast, and then I'd get out. Like, that would be my thing. Go in, jump off of the ring, jump off of the ropes, and like land in a submission hold, and then they go 1, 2, 3, and everyone's like, "What? It's supposed to be 2." Why did they give up so fast? It's supposed to be 1, 2.
And then they get up, yeah.
It's only 2, and it would always be 3 with me. So yeah, that would be my shtick.
Well,
but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, cool. I'm like you on that one. Like, I probably agree with you. I bet it probably is fun to do.
Yeah.
Because they are definitely athletes. I give them a lot of credit for that. But I just don't care. Like, I just feel like I can't care. I can't find a reason to care. Like, I remember
it's hard. It's hard to go from MMA to pro wrestling. I think it's an easier transition to be a big fan of pro wrestling and then go into MMA, because you have like characters that would remind you of wrestlers that you could really get into.
Right.
But to go from from MMA to pro wrestling is kind of tough.
Yeah, and I remember way back when I did see the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, the Glow show. I remember
I love that show.
That was funny, and I remember I did enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing I could do regularly. That's when the old Ivy League education kicks in, and we're like,
"Oh no,
we don't belong here." I'm sorry. That's if I had to pull a bougie thing, and I get a little snobby every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I draw the line. I think I'm like,
you're like, there's no other Brown graduates here.
Yeah, and like over the weekend, I stopped by and saw a friend of mine from Brown who I haven't seen in a while, and it was funny. He's a composer and all this stuff, and he does quite well and all this. But it was funny because I did remember have this feeling of sitting there with him and his wife and all this, and like having a conversation that wasn't about getting punched in the face.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I was like, oh yeah, I still know how to have these kind of conversations with people in
Wow.
my other life. So it was nice to do that. And of course, I'm kidding that highly educated people can enjoy pro wrestling. I totally kid, but it isn't necessarily my thing. But I'm glad you had fun. But I did watch UFC 266, and a couple of title fights. You and I both pretty much knew Valentina would win. No disrespect to Lauren. She tried her best, but she even admitted after, she's like, I couldn't do anything in there.
Mhm.
Valentina is just so incredible. And my favorite thing, I did watch some of the post-fight press conference with Valentina, and she had this just total gangster line when she was asked, when do people realize like their game plan doesn't work or something? And she was just saying something like, oh, it's as soon as they're in there with me and they realize that like everything they want to do isn't going to work. And everything about their game plan that they thought they were going to have, they're not going to have a game plan. And everything basically, she was just basically like, I'm going to neutralize any and everything you think you're going to bring here. So good luck. And I thought that was pretty gangster.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, to see what Andrade did, and then what Andrade did to Gavillo in their fight, and like with the takedowns, with the punishment on the feet, and then to watch Valentina, who handled Andrade so soundly, and watch her go to work. A few fights later, it really puts into perspective how far ahead she is from the best flyweights in the division. She's so far ahead of them, and it's insane. Like I'm like, what is she doing that's so different from everyone else? Because I want her to package it and sell it to me, like she is just so talented. She's so disciplined. She's so she's so in the moment, and she has a good way of deciding when to do what technique. And that's something that I've been figuring out with one of my new coaches, Justin Flores, where you learn the moves and you can perform the moves on command, perfectly. But it takes another part of your brain to decide when to use those techniques. And I feel like Valentina just has a very, very just like she's just so good at that. She's so good at deciding, okay, after I throw this punch, I'm going to get the body lock. I'm going to stick my knee in the middle. I'm going to pull over my knee. Then I'm going to sit on her. Then I'm going to, she knows exactly when to do which move. As soon as one move doesn't work in the pump, in like the clinch, she'll transition to another move and get the person down. If she doesn't get him down, she goes back to her striking immediately. She doesn't hesitate. And it's just really impressive to see how well she does it compared to all the other girls at 125. I think I always tell people this. I thought that Valentina was a little overrated until she fought Joanna. And then I was like, yo, like this is insane. Just because we haven't seen her fight a striker that is as skilled as her. And then when she was matched against Joanna, then you're like, okay, this should be competitive. And she knocked it out of the park. She was able to counter Joanna at will, and that was just something that no one's ever been able to do. So that's when I finally jumped on the Valentina Shevchenko train. I was like, okay, this is a good fighter. She knows exactly what she's doing. Then she started out wrestling people who were supposed to use that to their advantage in their game plan. And this woman, she can't be beat. Like, she really looks like she can't be beat. Dare I say she looks more unbeatable than Amanda Nunes? Dare I say that? I don't know. I feel like maybe we can ask the fans. Who looks more unbeatable?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think because the theory is that the ground game as a whole for Amanda, that was the going theory anyway, but I don't know if that's true. I guess because Kat submitted her way back when or whatever, right? And
okay. I feel like
And so that was why everybody thought, well, the ground game is where Amanda's going to lose, and then it's not. But because Duran to me also took her down, and I remember talking to Jermaine about this, and Jermaine was like, Amanda really didn't want to be there, and I know that was the the thing that also, I guess, so the mistake was striking with Amanda. That's what GDR was saying, because she was like, oh, taking her down was effective, and that did work, and she didn't want to be there, that type of thing. So allegedly that's the hole in her game. But I agree that I don't think Valentina, I know that the saying is, on any given Sunday or whatever, but you can have a month of Sundays, and I don't know when you're going to beat Valentina. And again,
Yeah.
it's not. And again, to your point too, it's not necessarily even about the fact that these other women aren't good, because Jessica's incredible, Joanna's incredible. These are great, great, great fighters. But when you really do see the difference, I guess, between Valentina, I mean, this is a woman who literally has dedicated her whole entire life to martial arts, and you really see the difference in that, I guess. I mean, we can say that we dedicate our lives to these things, but I dedicate my life to martial arts after I get home from dropping the kids off and before I make dinner and after I'm at the, you know what I mean? It's a whole thing where literally, like, you can tell that is literally what she lives, breathes, her whole thing. It comes from her mom. I remember meeting her mom in Moscow because
Moscow,
because Antonino was fighting. And it was really cool to meet her mom there. And I felt like, bow down to the queen. Like, your children are amazing. And, obviously she's the woman who helped set them up for that kind of success from such a long time ago anyway. So they're, to me, just a really cool family of kick-ass women. And I do think, because she also, like, she even explains how she's, on her own mission to become that unbeatable machine. And she seems so close to it. And that's the other thing too, is that she doesn't already rest on how good she is. And so that's why I think another reason she's going to be incredibly hard to catch up to, because she's not kicking back going, oh yeah, whatever, I just had my 7th, defense, whatever. Like, nah, like I'll phone it in now. It's like, she just keeps going. And I bring that up because, so she has, that was the 7th, title fight victory overall, her 6th defense. So she's second only to Amanda with the most title fight wins. Amanda has 9 and Valentina has 7. So I don't know. Line them up. Give her 2 girls in one night to fight. I don't know.
And isn't it funny that those two are the 2 fights difference? Amanda versus Shevchenko.
Well, right,
they fought twice.
Well,
but was the first one title fight?
I don't remember if the first one was a title fight. That's a good question.
I know the second one was a title fight. But
I
was the
kind
first
of
one?
don't think the first one was, because the first one probably Ronda was still champ at the time, right? I'm trying to remember the timeline of it.
Let me just Google it out real quick. But no, that was very impressive by Shevchenko. I can't wait to see her fight again, because I just like stealing her just her fight IQ. I was just like watching her fight IQ and watching her work things out in there. People were talking all sorts of crap when she went into the 3rd round, like, oh, she's not a finisher. She's not going to finish Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy, of all people, you would have thought she'd finish her already. But she finished her, and she showed so much composure and so much just like sheer will. She knew exactly what she was doing. She didn't falter from her game plan. She just stayed steady and got the finish. And that might have been a moment where a lesser champion would have gone to a decision. Maybe they would have given up a round, but she got that finish. And I don't know. I feel like when the fight goes a little longer and you're still able to get that win, and still able to finish the opponent, I'm always a little more impressed than when it finishes in the first round, because it could just be a matter of one person starting faster than the other, or one person not getting the range yet. And when they're both able to sit in there and put their game plans head to head and work on it for a few, they even go back to the corner, reassess things, and come back out to still get that finish after they were able to huddle with their coaches and say, okay, this is what you're doing wrong, let's fix this, and now we're going to do better. To still shut her down like that, for me, that's more impressive than just going out and beating her up in the first round. So I think that's why I enjoy watching her fight, and I'm excited about the next one, just because I can kind of envision how the wheels are turning and how she's figuring out how to beat up these women who are, accomplished. They're good.
They are good. She's like a video game person at this point,
Video game person.
She really is incredible. You bring something up, and I'm curious what your take is, because people talk about corners a lot and what they should say and what they shouldn't say. And I think, wasn't Lauren's corner getting some grief because they were saying that she was that they were not being honest with her, and stuff. And I am curious how much, brutal honesty you really want. I mean, because she said something afterwards like, I know I'm losing and I want them to be positive for me and they don't need to reinforce the fact I'm losing. I'm pretty sure I knew that anyway. And so, I think that, yeah, in that case, being positive and I'm just curious what you want to hear. Because I know for me, I used to play a lot of sports back in the day and I still play tennis and things like that. And from a coach, for me, I do want, give me something realistic that I can do to a tweak to fix, to give me something. But I understand that in that 1 minute, you can't give me too much, information and too much to process. So maybe just being positive and go get him KB is all I need. But I'd like a go get him KB and a maybe 2 practical things that I could really do. You know what I mean? And I'm curious what you want, because I think, there maybe is some danger in not being honest with your fighter if they're the type that doesn't know that they're losing.
I think it's different for every athlete, and I think it's also important to have that conversation before you get in there. Like, hey guys, if I'm getting fucked up, like, tell me. You got to tell me what to do, or this or that. Or you could just be like, hey, I just need you to motivate me. I need you to get me to the point where I can hop out of that seat and still feel like I have a chance of winning this thing. Or, for me, I think I really appreciate brutal honesty when it's close, because then in my head, I'm not sure if I won the round, if I lost the round. If they're just like brutally honest, like, hey, that was a close round. It could have gone to the other people. We need you to do this, this, and this better in the next round, or we need you to go to your takedowns. We need you to go to your striking. We need you to set up this thing that we were working on because it's open. You're not doing it. You need to do it when we call for it. Like, say something like that. That's brutally honest. That's telling you, okay, you didn't win, and here's how you're going to win the next round. Like, I feel like that is really important when it's close. If you're getting your ass kicked, if I'm getting my ass kicked, I want them to tell me something that's going to give me a light of hope. Like, okay, like, they don't have to reiterate that I got
She
fucked
might have
up.
almost gotten tired of punching your face by now.
Yeah. I can feel that I got fucked up. Like, my eyes swollen shut. Like, my nose is over here. Like, you don't need to tell me that my nose is broken.
Right.
But what you do need to tell me is any place where you can see me being successful. Like, any moment you can see me being successful. That's what you need to tell me. If I was doing something well after I got my ass kicked, you need to tell me what I was doing well so I could do that more, So I think that's what people are picking up on. And I always think it's rude when people hear 20 seconds in the corner and then they make an assessment of what is happening, like, you didn't hear the full conversation. And also, you don't know how that fighter responds to coaching. So this fighter may need like motivation. They may need to know, okay, circling was working. Go back to circling. You must circle. Do not circle. Don't stop moving your feet. You got to keep circling. What you were doing was good with the circling.
Right.
The more you circle, the less you're going to get hit, the less you're going to get taken out. So keep doing it. Like that. I feel like that's what they were doing. They were pulling out the successful moments of that round and saying, if you do this like nonstop, you have a chance of winning the next round. So I don't what do you call it? I do commend like her corner. They were trying to get her to do the things that were working, the things that they worked on that could get her in, that could get her like either on Valentina or just countering and landing more points than Valentina was landing on her. I really felt like after that first round, the only advantage she'd have in there was trying to throw more volume. And even if she did that, I feel like Valentina would have met her with that. So as a corner, sometimes I'm watching a fight and I'm like, God damn, what would you tell her? Like, what would you tell her? What would you tell her? It's really hard to be a coach sometimes.
I mean, I don't know what you can say when you're up against somebody like Valentina. In other words, just like, good luck. I mean, like you said,
get out there. Just throw haymakers.
But so in the main event with Brian Ortega and Alexander Volkanovski, that was an incredible fight. The third round, Brian almost was champion, right? Alexander even admitted like this was so deep. It was, oh crap, I'm about to lose my title deep, but he got out of it. But so anyway, Brian was really beat up in this fight, and we've seen that from him before, and he has a lot of heart, and he keeps going and he keeps going. I actually would have been okay, I think, at a couple points before that fifth one or even fourth. I've been like, no, we're good. Like, we don't have to keep going. And I say that just as a real big fan of Brian's, and I know him. I've worked with him before. He's a sweet guy. I just don't want to see somebody take more than they need to. And I do think as close as he came in that third round, don't know if that chance is going to come back around again in the fifth round. And he was so beat up, and I just love his look in his face and and I just thought, I don't know if you can pull it off, and I didn't. It started to get to the point to me where I wondered with the corner, is the damage he's taking now and the damage we've seen him in the other title fight before, is it worth it? Are we taking time off the future? It started to get a little bit hectic for me watching that fight, because it was
tough to watch. I was very impressed with Volkanovski's just pressure and his strikes, his combinations, and just the ability to survive those submissions. Like, it was in so deep. And I think part of it is his physique.
Yeah. He's a tank.
He's a tank. His neck and his chin kind of line up, so it helps.
I get choked all the time.
Yeah, there you go. Your head will pop right off if you got stuck in that guillotine. Start rolling down the cage.
Thyroid problems. By the way, I'm not a dude, and this is not an Adam's apple. I have thyroid problems, which is why this thing is always so huge. But anyway, I digress.
What? I've never noticed. I feel like I have that too. So thyroid cyst. No, I don't know anything about that. But I love your neck, but at the same time, your neck would get popped right off.
I get choked all the time.
If you were stuck in Brian Ortega's guillotine. But yeah, just the fact that he was able to get out of all those submissions, to survive and to get up and still kind of win the round. I felt like maybe it swayed towards Brian because he was so close to finishing, but Volkanovski, was still able to get up and do damage and not let that put any fear in him. Like, he ended the round in his guard, So it's just like, wow, you really are just fully confident. You're just like, I'm going to beat this guy up. I don't care if he's trying to grab me because, I survived his greatest attacks, and he just stayed with that plan. So I was really impressed by that. And, even though it could have been stopped, I do appreciate the refs giving the challenger a chance to compete, because this is the biggest fight of their life. Any title fight, when you're a challenger especially, is the biggest fight of your life. So if you have a chance, and if you are still there and you're moving and you're attacking, then I feel like it's fair to let that fighter fight out the round, like to not necessarily save the fighter from themselves in that moment, especially someone like Ortega, who is dangerous in every moment of the fight, especially more dangerous when he's losing. He's more dangerous, like history proven. Yes. When he's losing. So I don't mind that. I don't mind that for this fight. It was pretty intense. There were a lot of moments during my pro wrestling show that I was watching, and I was like, this is just like Volkanovski Ortega, because of all the switches and all the changing of like who's winning now. Oh, now this guy's winning. Now this guy's winning. It was a really entertaining fight to watch.
I will say, I don't want Brian to take more damage than he needs to, but yes, I'm also the one standing here screaming at the TV going, don't stop the fight. Like when there's, when there's only 10 seconds left, like I'm that a-hole screaming at the ref to not stop a fight when there's 10 seconds left. And I know we're not supposed to, it's not the ref's job to look at the clock and know how much time is left, and if the fighter's in danger, but I'm like, don't you stop this up and fight right now with 10 seconds on their round. So yeah, I'm definitely a person who would much rather give you the chance to regroup during that minute break in between rounds. Like, so if I ever was a ref, I would keep an eye on that clock. I'm just saying, because I would hate to, like you said, it's their biggest thing. I would hate to stop something 2 seconds left in a round. Like, what if round 2 seconds left in the round, you know what I mean? And then you come out and you don't get round 3. So I guess I just, you just sometimes want it to be equal, right? For each fighter to have that opportunity, because sometimes it does seem like, well, they let that guy try real hard to get out of that one, but then when it came over to the next fight, they called that one off real fast, and so that kind of thing is, I think, a little problematic. And I know we've talked about that before, but that's a different topic. But I do think what you said about Volkanovski too, and is his pressure was incredible. I think, I think now too, also after The Ultimate Fighter, people are starting to see him a little bit more, maybe get to know his personality a little more. I think when he first came on and won, we all loved Max so much that there was a bit of a like, well, how could you? How dare you come in here and be successful against Max? And so it was more like just pissed off at him. And the more you get to know Alex, though, the more you're like, all right, he's not so bad. And then you see him fight, you're like, all right, this guy's kind of a G. Like I said, I got to have a nice long conversation with him before the Ultimate Fighter finale. And so I really hadn't spoken to him for a while. And we talked for like a half hour straight, and he was so nice and really cool. And he definitely gave me the vibes of like, oh yeah, I definitely want to go out for a beer with this guy. He's that kind of guy where you can tell he's a good time guy and just a cool guy. And I do think that the whole, the city kickboxing, you can see like Dan Hooker came and just showed out. I'm such a Dan Hooker fan too. And so I think now we're starting to appreciate Alex for the champ that he is. And he's kind of coming out of, that shadow of just being the guy that beat people that we love. And now starting to maybe earn some of that love and respect for himself. Because again, like it's a little after the facts, but they did get fight of the night, Alex and Brian, but so Alex connected with 214 significant strikes. So that's the 7th most in a UFC fight, and the 5th most in a 5-round fight. Wow. So he's also the 10th fighter now to win 10 fights in a row. 10 fights in a row in the UFC is pretty dope. Wow. Nice. Awesome. Yeah. And then you also have to give him, so all the champs too are killing it right now with the win streaks. So welterweight champ Kamaru, 14 in a row. Bantam and feather champ Amanda has 12 in a row. Alex has 10 in a row. And Charles Oliveira has 9 in a row. So the champs are definitely showing out. And so it was a good night. I don't know, I'm not sure. So who's next for Volk, right? Because Ortega and Yair are fighting. I mean, not Ortega. Max is fighting him. Yes. Which is great. So that should be fun. That should be really great. He's probably gonna get a good amount of time off after being on the show and then having to fight it out. So Volkanovski is probably going to be out for a few months. So that means that all of our top level fights in that weight class can happen, and then they can recharge, and then we can see who's the best looking out of those guys. But then isn't Korean Zombie kind of in the mix too? Yes, he is in the mix. Yeah, he is in the mix. So I'm wondering who he's. I know. I'm wondering if like what he did was good enough, or if they're going to give him another person to fight. Right. I'm sure like Ige could probably fight a couple times too. If he looks good doing that, then he could be in the mix too. There's just like so many fun matches to make at that weight class. So for sure. Yeah. For sure. Should be a good one. I'm excited for it. Me too. Well, I do need to get your take on Robbie Lawler versus Nick Diaz. Yes. Because this is so hard because they're both total G's. And I was saying before, when I first started getting into MMA coverage, those were two big stars. So this is around 2007 or so. So I have just a lot of really great memories of covering these guys and doing interviews with them and hanging out with the Scrap Pack and seeing Robbie. Like Robbie was such a big deal, and he was always so cool. And I remember one time him coming and like sitting down with me. We were up at the San Jose hotel and everything, and I was just like, it's just cool getting to know Robbie Lawler, because he's not a real talkative guy, as we know, and stuff like that. But like when you anyway, had such positive vibes, and so many of us did going into this fight anyway. And I really definitely was one of those, like, I don't want anybody to lose. Robbie did win the fight, but we got a really entertaining fight for as long as it lasted. And I think during the walk, like there was a real curiosity factor of like what Nick was going to look like. And I actually didn't expect him to throw as many strikes as he did and still have that I was very entertained.
No, it was a super entertaining fight. And the first few minutes, or not minutes, but the first like 30 seconds were a little scary because Nick just looked a little. Well, the kick was fun. I didn't mind the kick. I would suggest he does the kick again because it was fun and it just got things going. Sometimes you just want to be like, fuck, filling shit out. Like, let's just, you know, okay, we're fighting. So I didn't mind the kick, even though it was kind of like slow.
Yeah.
But the fight in itself, like just his posturing and like the way he was blocking punches, it looked a little scary, like he was a little stiff, just a little nervous, like he wasn't comfortable because it had been so long since he first got in there. But I think after he got hit a few times, he just went back into like Nick Diaz mode, you know, he went back into fight mode. He looked like the old Nick that we had seen before, and it was really entertaining. Like I loved it. I loved that. You know, even with a slow start, his punch count was insane. You know, his strike count was insane in both rounds.
Yeah.
So I was super entertained by that fight. I enjoyed it. I want more of it. I hope that he comes back, you know.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because some people think now that Nick was like, that was it and we won't see him again.
Well, I think just because he's pretty well off, right, at this point. Like, he doesn't need to fight. He doesn't need to fight, but it would be awesome. I'm not sure if he has like a bunch of fights left on his contract. I know some of the older fighters, they can't go off and do other things because they have so many fights on their contract left. So if that's the case, I would love to see him fight it out so he can go do other cool shit, because like I'm sure people will pay for Nick Diaz anywhere he goes, you know, right. But I'm excited to see him fight again in the UFC and wherever he decides to go. And if he doesn't, like, good for him. But I definitely would tune in. Like, he's an awesome fighter, and that was really impressive for him to just pop, just that touch. It's a really weird way of punching too. Like, him and Nate both do it where they're touching and it doesn't look like it's doing the damage that it does until you see the reaction on their opponent's face and the damage on their opponent's face. And then you're like, oh, that's hurting, you know? Oh, he's doing something. But I'm super impressed with Lawler. I don't want to like not talk about Lawler. Like, I was super impressed with his boxing as well, and like how he was able to mix in the body shots and just
I love his cover-ups too, because that's the thing. He was throwing so much volume, but if you saw a lot of it, I mean, some got through, but Robbie was working too, and he knew he had to just do this all day to get in there. Yeah, Nick's arms are so long, and like you said, like Nick and Nate, both of them with the boxing, like you're like, that's slow. That seems telegraphed. Here it comes. It just tagged me. I'm beat up now. Yeah, like, how did that happen? It's
like a push. It's like every punch is like there's an extra like push. Once it lands, it's like boom, and then they go boom,
there's
and
like
then it just hurts twice.
A little FU 209 on the end there.
Yeah. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, and you're right. And so to see Nick back there throwing the bot, it was really entertaining. You know, and too, I don't know if you saw Connor and Nate getting back into it about the boxing too, because then Connor put some tweet out about, oh yeah, Nick, I can see, you know, Nick's boxing is so good and all this. So Nate, another way, you know, your big brother owns you or something, like, yeah, now I really can see the difference. And so Nate writes back, he's like, but you can't even fight. Remember your leg or something like that? He had just like this total gangster. He's like, but remember your leg? Like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah. I love how matter of fact they are. Just like, shut up.
Yeah. But it was funny because, and we've said this before, how Nate still always talks about repping the Nick Diaz army. And so it was really cool, even though he didn't win, I think for the newer fans who maybe never even were here when Nick was around the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like to see him and to see, oh, I get it now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a good enough fight for people to understand why there is such a love for Nick. And there was a part of me that was like, lay down in the octagon, lay down, lay down, lay down. Like I wanted
Please,
one of those moments again. Or like, yeah, or this, I did want something but just seeing him in there was cool enough. But to your point about Robbie, Robbie even admitted, this was a fight that made him like get up for it. And I thought, we did see the best Robbie we'd seen in a while too.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that also got me excited because I have been such a huge Robbie Lawler fan for all these years. Then to see him come back and you're like, oh, maybe this like got him out of his funk, right? Maybe now Robbie's got his mojo back because he was such a destroyer. And I didn't like the fact that, they put him with people, just some of the fights, same thing. We just want to see Robbie just go out there and wail on somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like the fight with Colby was so anticlimactic.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for him to come out, show himself, just show us the Robbie Lawler that we loved watching, and it didn't happen, and we're just like, oh, what happened there? Right. So this time you got to see it. Like you finally, after so long, we finally got to see it.
Right. And I get it. Colby's good, and that's why we didn't see it, is because Colby's good. It's just that it's just really fun to see Robbie do Robbie. So hopefully, and we know how much Dana loves Robbie. We know how much that they love him. So hopefully we just keep giving Robbie these kind of fights. Just give him stand-up fights with guys who want to box and just throw stuff, let's just do that.
Yeah, just people who want to fight in a phone box. Do that.
Right.
Do that. Robbie versus guy in a phone booth.
So I want to ask you, Angie, a couple of weeks ago, we started a little bit about who was overkilling it and who was in K Beast mode.
Oh.
And I'm curious if you have any takes on that on 266, because if not, I can go first.
Man, you go first because I have to rehash who deserves the overkilling it title.
So
but you go first.
For me this week, the person that was in K Beast mode was Merab Wallace-Vili.
Wow! Yes. Oh my goodness.
Merab. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yes,
like
that is the perfect answer.
First round, Marlon Moraes came out and just hit him with everything, and Marlon was a machine. Marlon's really freaking good, and even though a couple fights haven't gone his way, people, you can't write this dude off. So it was all Marlon at the beginning, and you think, oh no, Merab's done. He's done. And then you're like, oh no, he's
resurrected.
Not.
Yes. So he's like, nope.
So the fact that that Merab is able to come back from these things, and we've seen it before. We've seen fights from him before where it's dead to rights, and then he comes back and wins. So Merab was in K Beast mode, and this one coming back and getting that victory. He even jokes that you got to kill him to take him out. So then it was really cool to see him celebrating with Giga after the Georgians are all talking about their takeover. So I just now need to go out for a celebration khachapuri with him. I had a Georgian khachapuri up in Seattle, and they told me it wasn't the real thing, but it was delicious. But that's who was in K Beast mode for me. And Merab was actually on with us last Tuesday or last Wednesday with Hanato and Aljo, and so people can look for that. It was really fun, the conversations here. But Merab just keeps showing every single time that this dude is nothing to be taken lightly. He's now tied with Aljo. Actually, there was a fact on him.
Wow.
Our longest active win streak in the bantamweight division now. That was 6 in a row for him at a bantamweight. 7 wins in a row total for Merab, but 6 at bantam. So total K Beast mode.
Wow. All right. And you have to wonder what's going to happen now with the friendship. Because, oh my goodness. He said he'll
fight Aljo, though. Yeah.
He did before Aljo got injured. He kept holding up the belt. What are they going to do?
They could have Sandhagen and Jan, right? Fight for a vacant or something?
Yes, that definitely can happen. But we could be looking at Merab becoming interim champion before Aljo is ready to compete as champion. That might be wild.
That'd be wild. That'd be
But I digress.
But you digress.
I digress.
Who overkilled it?
I'm gonna have a hot take. I dressed up as Stephen A, so I'm in a hot take mode. I'm gonna say Razor Blades, Curtis Blades overkilled it because so many people were giving him shit for the way that he fought, and I was so impressed. He got messed up with that knee. Like, his eye was shut, like it was swelling closed. If it was another round, they might have stopped the fight because he couldn't see out of that eye. But he found a way to get him down, get Rosenstruck down, and get that win. Like, I'm so impressed. I'm always so impressed with Curtis Blades' wrestling and his fight IQ because you know what he's gonna do. You know, like you know exactly what he's gonna do, and he always manages to go in and do it. And against someone who's so good at timing that knee perfectly, so good at just waiting for the perfect time to strike. Rosenstruck is a monster. We saw what he did to Overeem. He exploded his face. So Curtis got off pretty easy with that big swollen eye, you know. But I was really impressed with the way that he stayed composed. He didn't care about the fans booing. He didn't care about what critiques he might get afterwards. He stayed composed. He got the win, and I was really impressed with that because in the end, all that matters is that streak. If you have that streak, you're definitely going to be able to make a run for the title. And if you are able to find a way to win, even when your eyes swollen shut, even when, the game plan might seem to be not working as well, like, and you still find a way to make that game plan work, like, that's championship material. And I really feel like that he's going to be champion one day. Like, I feel like he's very close. He just hit a few bumps in the road and he's right there. So I was very impressed with Curtis Blades. Overkilled it. I wish I had his wrestling. He's amazing in there. And every time I watch him, it's a lesson. So he overkilled it.
All right. Well, there you go. I agree with you on that one, too. Yeah, Curtis was, he's so good. And I love, too, that he just owns the fact. He's like, yep, I'm going to take you down. And what are you going to do about it?
I could finish you down here.
Yep.
But, if I don't, I'm still going to win.
Yep. So it must be really cool to, like, have that superpower, right? Like,
it is. It's a button. It's just like, it's like pulling the controller out. When you're playing Mario Kart next to your friend and they're winning and you just pull the controller out. And they're like, wow, you're cheating. But they still got to get the controller back in before they can keep playing. So there you go. That's what he does. He just goes, yoink.
Question for you, though. Did Curtis look a little thicker to you this time, though?
He did look thick. He did look thick. I'm like, okay. Got some extra protein shakes in there. A little extra carbs this camp. Yeah, them shorts are looking a little tight. A little tight on the thighs. Yeah.
Good for Curtis. And you're right. Like, he showed a lot of heart there with the taking that beating because he posted a picture and his face is smashed up. He's tough. He's very tough. So congratulations to him on that. Well, listen, hey, Aunt, I gotta wrap it up a little early today because I gotta go get the daughter. She's I gotta go pick her up. So
yeah,
but I think
go get your kid. Where your kids at, Karyn? Where your kids at?
Yeah, also, but before we get out of it, but Curtis did also set some records there with that. So when we look, because he joined the UFC heavyweight division in 2016, so he's got the second most wins in the division now. So he ties Francis with 10 wins. Derek Lewis has 12, but Curtis has 10 wins in the heavyweight division now, same as Francis. So I agree with you. Could be a future champ there. I mean,
it's only a matter of time. I feel like it's only a matter of time. And the way that he fights, he doesn't take that much damage. Unless he really takes it like this last fight. He doesn't get concussed as much. So I don't see his chin going out like a lot of the other fighters who get in these striking matches, who get wobbled and then they come back and then they get wobbled again, but then they can come back and win it. Like he has a very good chance of fighting for a very long time. So that's why I feel like it's only a matter of time before he gets the belt because he's so good at what he does that it's just about keeping those wins coming and becoming more and more unbeatable.
Yeah. Well, and also just to that point, the cool thing is, Chris Dawkins was on this card too. There's more heavyweight talent. We saw Tom Aspinall a few weeks back. So heavyweight's definitely got a nice, bright future. So even though we've seen guys like, Alistair is gone, and we've got our Lovskis that are getting older and stuff like that, like there is this talent that's still that's coming in and like coming into their own and doing really well. So yeah, it's cool, and everybody likes watching the big boys. It's always fun. Well, speaking of that, yeah, I will be out in Vegas this weekend. We have the relatively big boys, Mahetta versus Johnny Walker. Yeah, the light heavyweight fight. So which should be really entertaining. So I'll be heading out for that one. But do you got any fight news yet or anything?
No. No, but my homie Jessica has some fight news coming up, so stay tuned for that. I don't think it's announced yet, so I won't say it, but it's going to be a good one. And also Dwight Grant, he's going to be fighting what is his name? He's fighting a really cool guy too. The guy who will test your trivia, he had a birthday party in the favela because he never had a party on his own. He was never able to have his own birthday party growing up. So when he went home after one of his wins, he threw a party for everyone in the favela.
Oh, in the favela. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's fighting a Brazilian guy.
Yes, there's a clue.
Wait. Okay. Yeah. So wait. What weight class is your friend in?
He is a 170er.
Oh, is he fighting Cowboy Oliveira? No.
Not Cowboy Oliveira, but he looks like him kind of.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot, there's a lot of Brazilians. I could be here for a minute.
Okay, I just gotta find his name. Just mentioned it. But anyway, the people in the comments, you can sound off who Dwight Grant is fighting. But it's gonna be a good fight. I'm really excited about it, and yeah, both fights are happening before the end of the year. So yeah. Good things to look forward to.
Cool. All right. So this show is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, as well as YouTube and on Instagram. So over on YouTube, you can just type in What Had Happened Was, or look for either of our names and find it. You can find me on Twitter at Karyn Bryant, Karyn. Bryant as in Kobe, no relation, but may he rest in peace. On Instagram, I'm KB Heat. Tuesday night, we're having some more festivities with Renato Laranja and some special guests. So tune in 8 p.m. West Coast time on Tuesday nights for that. But Ange, maybe you should pop in this week too a little bit and say hi to Renato. That would actually be really fun.
Maybe Tuesday night. Yeah, I'll try to clear my schedule.
Okay, cool. So yeah, what are you? Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Angie Overkill on Instagram and Twitter, and you can also find me at Overkill Hill at TikTok.
Awesome. And she does good TikToks, folks. Yeah. Awesome.
I try.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks for checking this out, folks. It's What Had Happened Was. And we'll see you on the next one.